first thing I'd say is that there are a variety of employers who've been operating under the essential criteria during the course of this pandemic. They're now going to need to comply with the universal guidance when it gets issued on May 18th, the same way everybody else will need to comply. And for some of them, there will be industry-specific guidance that they'll need to act on as well. I mean, one of the big things to realize as we head into this next phase is there's no longer going to be what we thought of all along for the past few months as essential and non-essential. There are going to be businesses that are able to operate based on their ability to abide by the global standards as well as by industry-specific standards for their operations, and then a phased roll-in based on, as I said in my remarks and the Lieutenant Governor said in hers, based on our belief about those particular industry categories' ability to abide by and deliver on those guidelines, which means starting with some of the businesses that have the least face-to-face interaction or the closest contact with customers as we traditionally think about it. But I think part of the reason to have all these conversations that the Lieutenant Governor and her team and Commissioner Burrell also serves on that team, and Secretary Keneally co-chairs it. Part of the reason to have all those conversations is to get employers into the dialogue and into the discussion about what an operating model in a world where you're trying to prevent the spread of a hugely contagious virus looks like. And I think that's just as true for them as it is for all the rest of us. And that certainly comes with a certain set of new skills and appreciations and understandings that people are going to have to develop and work with. But I think it's also understood that a huge part of what we've been doing for the past few months has been to protect our hospital and our healthcare system, to make sure that it could treat everybody that needed to get treated who was sick with COVID, and at the same time continue to be able to serve people who had other conditions. For the most part, that's been successful. Now the goal, since we've started to see downward trends on the key measures that we've talked about around testing and ICU use and hospitalizations and all the rest, is to start to get the regulators, which would be the Commonwealth and the cities and towns, and the employer community, comfortable with how a phased reopening might go, who would be involved in the earlier phases, what would be expected of them, and how that might roll out. And again, those conversations that have gone on in the Reopening Advisory Board with employers and the conversations that have gone on with governors and with secretaries and others about how people across the Northeast are thinking about this have been incredibly helpful. But I think we all get the fact that, you know, there's been nothing comfortable about this starting in the middle of March, and I would expect that the reopening is probably going to be somewhat uncomfortable too for the same reason, because it's all different.